Hello everyone, welcome to this week's video. I have a piece of, I'm actually not even sure what kind of wood it is, but she's in pretty bad shape. So it's going to be another epoxy week. I got to find the bucket I'm going to put it in, and I'm going to go cut it down on the lathe, on the bandsaw. I've got it cut fairly round, and I'm not sure what kind of wood it is. Hold it up there. See, my bandsaw blade's a little dull, so it burnt a little bit, but still has a pretty good red tone to it. And the grain doesn't make me think of an oak or anything like that. And it didn't feel, of course, it's pretty rotten. Didn't feel that hard. I don't believe it's any type of cedar. Doesn't smell like cedar. Yeah, I don't know. My brother-in-law gave it to me and I was all excited because it looked like a pretty gnarly piece and looked like it could be very interesting to turn. So I am going to start working on cleaning this up, and once I get it, all the loose things knocked off and cleaned up the best that I can, I will bring you guys back whenever I've got some epoxy mixed up. Okay, so in this one, I've put the black mica powder by Resin, and this one I've used the white mica. Well, the epoxy I'm using today is an old epoxy that I've had around here for a while, and I've got my Resin is on the way, but I wanted to get this piece done, so I would have a video for this week. But I'm hoping that that's okay. And it is just a regular epoxy. It's not a deep pour, and I am mixing a lot. So I will be putting ice packs around the inside of, let me move these guys up so you can see what I'm talking about. I've got my wood glued down into the bottom of the bucket. I've got two like grocery bags to help me pick it up and pack it. But I also put ice packs. Let me get you one so you know. Some ice packs that I'm going to slide in around this. And I can't use I usually use frozen water bottles, but my pressure pot is not big enough around. So I have to pack it around with the ice packs. And then I will try to set some water bottles and plastic bags around here so no moisture hopefully goes down inside of it, just to keep things cool, because it's a lot of epoxy and it may crack. But this is my method of trying to keep it from cracking. Right now I'm waiting for this to warm up a little bit, because what my concern is that it is so old that it's not any good. So I don't want to dump it on top of the wood until I get it warmed a little bit. Boy, I better be right. Man, better not ruin this piece. You get this down in the pressure pot. Put your pot in here. Ah! No! Can't have you floating. Crap. What am I going to do about that situation? Yeah, can't have you floating. So I got to find something to put on you. Dang it. Well, shoot. The bad thing is this other side is so low. Okay, well, I gotta figure that out. That ain't gonna do me a whole heap of good with that all up there like that. And I really am just gonna have gray epoxy. Shoot. Okay, I gotta figure out how to get it in the pressure pot and I'll weigh it down with something. There we go. So, that is what I did to fix my floating wood. Looks a hot mess, but I just put my water bottle, frozen water bottles inside a little plastic bowl and taped it all down to the bucket, and let's hope that the wood stays down. All right, got this beast out of the mold, and here we are, gray. Let me get geared up and we'll get to spinning. When you're getting a lot of bouncing, which happens sometimes just because when it's an oblong, or I mean a piece that you've got a lot to get off, you can see I don't have it off all the way here. But you get that vibration. Sometimes it can cause your carbide to come loose. So I've got to tighten. I'm going to just go ahead. I've got a different one and I'm going to take it off and put a fresh one on. But yeah, make sure you stop every once in a while when you're thinking, I shouldn't still be bouncing as bad because I'm getting, true and rounded. You can still have it a little bit when you're going from epoxy to wood, a little bit of bounce, and with this little void here, but it should not have been bouncing as bad as what it was, and this is why, because my blade wasn't on good. All right, let me get that done. Alright, so we do have some thermal cracking going on. I was hoping to avoid that, but that's just the way it's going to be. A few little air holes, and a few other little spots that I need to work out. But yeah, that's just unfortunate. Those two cracks right there. I'm not sure what I'm going to fill those with. Anyway, let me get this on the chuck and we'll finish up some shaping on the outside and get to hollowing on the inside. Well, guess what I did while you guys wasn't watching? I changed the shape and I forgot to push the record button on my camera. So yeah, I did that. I got it on the chuck and I just got straight to work and revealed some more cracks. I was kind of hoping to chase them away. I also did some sanding. That's the reason it kind of looks, you know, you got the sanding marks here, but that was just to kind of see if anything else was going to open up with my first run of sanding. So there's quite a few cracks. Probably will just put some medium clear CA in it. Let's go that route. All right, so we are going to have to do some major repairs on the inside of this. I only sanded, I just used 120. I've got a lot more sanding to do, and then of course I'll do my wet sanding. But some major cracking. I don't know how well you guys can see, but a crack that runs all the way up here, and you can barely see it up here, and it is just a small crack that's up on top of the bowl on the outside. So, but it's very deep, so I've got to stop and think about what I'm going to do. I mean, that's a lot of CA to put in there to do what I was doing on the outside, so I have to stop and think about that. I have several cracks in this part of the epoxy too. I mean, some of it you can probably see, you know, the CA did come on through that way. Have a little bit there, a little bit there. So yeah, let me have a think about what I'm going to put in those cracks. This is what I've decided to do. I have some thick CA. It's Tri-Bond or Tight Bond. I'm sorry. This is CA Tight Bond. It is a thick CA, and it came with the Tite Bond spray I was buying at my local hardwood store at Cardwell. It came with it, and I was just going after the spray because the thick, I just couldn't find a place for it. Usually use a thin or a medium. So I usually use, Star Bond as my go-to. But I've got several bottles of this thick CA. So I am going to mix it up with some of the Let's Resin mica powder gray. So, and I've got my little rubber silicone thing to help push it down into the cracks, hopefully. Because I don't want to just make a pile of a mess and not get it down in the cracks. And what really caused me to try this is one of my wood turning friends at my wood turning club. He asked me if I ever tried coloring my CA, and there's a company out there that has some kind of product that I'm going to reach out and see about trying. But yeah, this is just hopefully will work for this time until I can get some of, woo! I don't want to be pouring it everywhere. Time to let it set for a little bit. Wiping it down with some denatured alcohol to get rid of some of the dust. Okay, let's put some sanding sealer on her. I think that wood is going to take at least 2 coats of the sanding sealer. So I've got to let it dry, put another coat on, and we'll come back and do some sanding pastes. Okay, let's turn her around and get her bottom off. here we are off the lathe, and another one in the books. Using the old epoxy, I was of course concerned on whether it was going to set up. It did. It took a little bit longer for it to set. It stayed soft a little longer than it used to. So there's that. The thermal cracks, which I expected, there was a good possibility that was going to happen because I was doing such a deep pour. And it's just a regular epoxy. It's not a deep pour epoxy that I was using. So, you know, if I was using a deep pour, chances are I wouldn't have got the thermal cracks. It's not like you can't get a thermal crack with a deep pour. Especially most deep pours aren't meant to be poured as deep as even what I poured the regular epoxy. So not being able to even see the thermal cracks because they were more on the inside. That's where more heat evidently was generated with the epoxy or whatever. So that was a little bit of a disappointment. I had getting it out of the bucket and everything. I was excited. I was like, hey, maybe not. And then of course there was. Color wise, I kind of wish I would have picked a different color. Because of the epoxy is more of an opaque epoxy, so I couldn't quite get the deep black that I was looking for to go with the white, to have that, you know, I was going to have a little bit of gray because of mixing black and white together, but of course it got all muddled even more whenever it floated up out of the bucket. And I pushed it back down and then pushed it back down a couple more times. So, you know, I'm just kind of mixing the two together. I mean, I still have a really cool pattern with it. Let me bring it up here so you guys can see. See what you guys think of it. So, there's that. And the inside. And, of course, the thermal crack, even with using the CA with the mica powder, and I used a gray, it still looks black. So I probably put a smidge too much gray in it, and you're just going to see it. You know, I have yet to figure out a way to disguise any kind of thermal cracks like that. Sometimes I've put a total different color in to make it stand out, if I have enough thermal cracking, where I didn't quite have enough. So yeah, the wood, I'm not sure what kind of wood I've got. I'm wondering if it's juniper. I know it's not cedar because the smell, you know, cedar has a very distinctive smell. I don't think it's Osage orange because it's a little too soft for Osage orange. I was having a problem with my tools and them going dull super quick. So I used carbide on most of them and even had to stop and sharpen those occasionally. And I think that's, you know, I don't know, it may have had the wood might have had some silica or something like that in it that just was gonna, I mean, I couldn't use a bowl gouge for 5 seconds before it was dull. So that was a little frustrating because I was hoping to really get in and pull that away. But it is what it is. You know, it worked out. I got it all out with the carbide. It just took a little longer. I did use my square to really, you know, just kind of chew it away, my square carbide. I don't use it very often, but sometimes whenever I'm got a hard piece or something like that, I'll use it just with a lot of mass to try to get it away, get the, you know, inside away. Anyway, let me know what you guys think. If you know what kind of wood it is, you know, I always seem to need help with that. And all, you know, the grain in it is pretty, but it's pretty orange. And I think that's what's throwing me off, is I don't put orange and gray together. So anyway, better leave that one alone. So I want to tell you guys, thank you for stopping by and taking the time to watch the video. I appreciate it. And also, if you guys haven't subscribed, jump on down and subscribe. It's free. There's no expense to it. I'm trying to build and grow my channel. And the best way for me to do that is if you subscribe, give me the thumbs up, share my video, and leave a comment. Let me know what you guys think about this week's video. So we're going to put her in the picture box. I want you guys to have a great day. And we'll see you on the flip side.